Thank you. Now, let's look at what do we mean by entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, in short term, it's about setting your own business. If you think about setting your own business, then you're basically talking about what we mean by entrepreneurship. Someone may wonder, why should I set a business if I'm not a businessman, if I'm not studying business as a course? It means that in this world we are in now, the trend we are looking at in the world, entrepreneurship does not need any specific profession. If you are doing medicine, in your field of medicine, you are doing business. I see so many drug shops coming up. I see so many clinics, private clinics and hospitals coming up, and they are not for free. At the end of the day, you have an investment you make in it. You must put in capital. And at the end of the day, I see they have budgets, they have expenses, and whatever they do is actually business, because what you are doing, the service you are offering, is not a charity. So if it is not a charity, you are actually expecting a return on investment you have done. So whether you have done medicine, whether you have done business administration, whether you have done IT, any field of study, you must have an experience or a skill and knowledge about entrepreneurship. You must be aware that at the end of the day, it's all about making a living. So how do you make a living? A living is all about money. For us in business, we are very clear that money makes life. If there is no money, there is no life. So you guys in medicine, when you are studying, you are there to make sure that people have lives. But if there is no money, I see strikes happening in hospitals that doctors are not paid. I see them being sent, patients being sent to the drug shops and clinics to buy medicine. So why do you do that? Here in Uganda, the National Council for Higher Education has actually instructed that almost all the programs we offer at higher institutions of learning should have a course unit called entrepreneurship. Why? Because in the near future, or even from today, the students we teach, we don't teach them to go and look for jobs, but we teach them to know how they can create their jobs, employ others, and also earn a living from what they have done. So it's all about the mindset you have as a person. If you think you can be positive and achieve what you want, then positive thinking is very important in entrepreneurship. Always have a positive thinking, have a positive attitude, because it is all about attitude. If you say yes, then you will succeed. But if you say no, then your mind will be behind and you will not achieve what you're actually intending to achieve. And it's entrepreneurship. What you need to know, it is all about life commitment. You must commit your life on what you have started to do. If you have decided to set up a drug shop, if you have decided to set up a clinic, even a hospital, a community hospital, you must give it life. You must give it time, supervise it from zero to anything that you are looking forward achieving. Most people set businesses and go away. It doesn't make sense. Once you make any business, you can actually make a poultry farm business even when you have done medicine. It does not mean that if you are a medical doctor, you cannot do any other business. You can do anything. You can move away from the field of study and do something else that you feel can change your life. If you feel can actually change the lives of the communities you are living in. So you must give it time, think about it, and develop it. One of the entrepreneurs here in Uganda, Mr. Patrick Bitature, said that if you want to succeed, give time in the business, give it enough time, and don't slip away from the business. Some people set up businesses in one town when they are staying in a different town. You don't leave your business as a startup to other people to run it on your behalf. Fine, you are going to look for other people to help you work, but it's the vision of yourself. It's your vision, not other people's vision. So you need to sleep or stay where your business is. Stay where your business is. Because if anything wrong or right happens, it won't be a surprise to you, and you know where to start from and where to end. And what you need to know in entrepreneurship, that any business we start, it has actually so many obstacles on the way. You are going to start either clinic or a drug shop or any other business. It can be even be timber, a timber business. It can be construction business. It can be, you can be selling equipment to the hospitals, but you start it as a business. But just know that you will have so many obstacles that will make you fail now and then. You will have to think about it, even running away. But you just need to know there is no straight line in life. What you have started is a journey that you must drive with all the pitfalls and make sure that you jump over until when you succeed. Now, when you look on the right-hand side, I have a picture which shows idea generation. It says that before you start any business, you must think about the idea. What are you planning to do? And you cannot be having one idea and you implement only that one. You always have so many ideas in your mind. And actually, when we talk about an entrepreneur always thinks about anything to be done. Even when he's working, even when he's doing anything aside, he's thinking all the time, what else can I do and how can I do it successfully? Even when you are a student now, in any institution you are in, even if you are in class, someone who was born an entrepreneur is actually looking at how can I turn this idea into a reality, into a business that can actually change my life, can actually change the community that I'm living in, and how can I make a difference. That lady you see there in the picture is actually trying to come up with different ideas and try to come out, what can I start with? She has so many ideas, you can see she's crafting so many ideas, but at the end of the day, she will have to rank them. Ranking the ideas based on your priority, based on the achievement you're focusing on, and then start with that one. You can fail on the way, as I've said, there are so many obstacles, but failing doesn't mean that you have failed forever. If you talk about most of the entrepreneurs we have, they have failed so many times. They have lost money. They have got so many people they work with and they get disappointed, but they don't give up. So an entrepreneur does not give up an idea. You must continue and make sure that whatever you are planning to do, you succeed. So idea generation is very important for you to first think about it before you implement it. Share with people and filter it until you see that the idea is what you have been thinking about. When you look at this next slide, we are still on the meaning of entrepreneurship. Please don't change. Go back to where you have an uncertainty of the future. Go back a bit. Yes, there. Thank you. When we still talk about the meaning of entrepreneurship, there is a lot that we need to talk about. Go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Yes, that one. You stop there. Don't move. I will let you know. So we talk about people when they think about an entrepreneurship. Most people think that once you employ yourself, life becomes easy. But I can tell you, if you want to be an entrepreneur, either in medicine, either in any other field, life is not easy at all, especially from the start. Because remember, an entrepreneur is not paid a salary. So there is no monthly salary because you are not an employee of any other person. In any case, you will be paying salaries to the people that you work with in the business you are running. So you must be prepared that you won't be earning salary because you are not paid, you are not employed by any other person. And then it is full of fear and greed. People, they start the business, they cannot be very sure that the capital they have put in is actually going to make more money. So the fear is normal for an entrepreneur. So if you start any business, you must have some fear. And if it succeeds, then greed comes up. You are like, I wish I could start more and more businesses because there is money coming up. So it is not just starting a business. Entrepreneurship is not just starting a business as you think, but it has so many challenges. But you must think about it, plan for them, and work with others to overcome them. It's a way of looking at the world. If you look at on that picture, that journey is wrong. The man is trying to run until he finishes that journey. But it's not easy. Sometimes you can fail on the way if you are not energetic enough, if you are not planned for it very enough. It's better in the future and it pays you when you have been patient. If you do your own business consistently, well planned, well managed, and well evaluated, then you are sure that the future will be paying you so well than someone who looked for a job and earn a salary. So at the start, don't expect much because you don't earn a salary. You're actually putting in more money. And in business, we call it an introduction stage. In the business, we have what we call the PLC, what we call the product life cycle. Every product is born, it grows, and it dies if you are not careful. So you as an entrepreneur, make sure that your product, when it's born, that's when you have started it, it grows, it matures. Don't let it die. Don't let it die. Make sure that it keeps on growing. It can be stagnated somewhere in the middle, but make sure you have to rejuvenate it and the graph starts moving up again. So that picture you see on your right, which shows the uncertainty of the future, it says that you as an entrepreneur who has started that business, you are always not sure what is going to be in the future. Whether the business is going to succeed or fail, it is not yet determined at the beginning of it. What I mean by introduction stage, because there is a lot that you still need to do for the business to succeed. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Move to the next slide. Yes, let's stop there. Now, when you look at that slide, it has the mindset and crafting the future. So you, as an entrepreneur, you must be able to identify opportunities from the obstacles you have been going through. The obstacles help an entrepreneur to identify the opportunity. How? Because most of us are not born entrepreneurs. Actually, you need to note that not every person that thinks of doing a private business or a person of business qualifies to be an entrepreneur. We are going to see the characteristics of entrepreneurship. Some people were born to be employed by others. Why? Because they fear the obstacles. They fear the uncertainty of life. So they want to be in the comfort zone and earn a salary, however little it might be, but is assured of earning that salary and do something for a living. But if you are a true entrepreneurial person, you won't fear the obstacles, you won't fear the ups and downs you're going to face, and actually it helps you to pick the best opportunity because that's where most people fear. You must be a risk taker when others take refuge. If you see where most people are running from, you as an entrepreneur, you take that advantage and go there. Because if you want to do what most people have done, then you won't benefit much. You must make sure that where the majority of people are fearing is where you are focusing to do business. Don't go where everyone has gone. You won't succeed because the competition is so high. Where you see most people are fearing, that tells you that most of those guys are not entrepreneurs by nature. So you capitalize there and make more money. It's driven by innovation and creativity. An entrepreneur is driven by innovations and creativity in his mind. If you are not an innovative person, trust me, you may not go far. Because you must always think about what can I do different from other people. You might be many people doing the same business, but can you make your business slightly different from others such that customers can actually leave those other competitors and come and buy from you? You might be having a drug shop. That drug shop is selling the same medicine these other guys on your side have, but what is that difference that you have made on your shop? It can be a simple display or the shelves the way they are done within your drug shop. It can be the branding in front of your shop. It can be the customer service that you offer to your customers that come to you. It can even be pricing. But what is that different thing that you have done that can bring more customers to your business? So you must always be innovative and creative. You must think about to have a permanent better. How can you have a permanent better life if you are not innovative? If you think about the best way of doing things, then you must expect different results. If you keep on doing the same things, don't expect different results in the future. If you look at that picture, crafting the future, it tells you that you start with information. If you look at the left corner of that picture, extreme corner up, there is the word information. That whatever we do, we must collect enough information first. Listen from different people of different qualifications, different backgrounds, different businesses they are doing. Collect more information as you can before you make a decision on what you can do in terms of business. If you want to set up a clinic, first find out how many clinics are in that area you want to set yours. And why are they there? What services are they offering? And why are they offering them? What are the costs? And what is the feedback from that very community that they are serving? You must do a research to get enough information that can help you make a decision before you start your business. Once you have gotten enough information, it means that you have knowledge now on what you are supposed to do. If you look inside that table, that table, you will see some picture showing knowledge, that once you have enough information, then you have knowledge. Information is knowledge, and others say information is wealth. Then you will be motivational because you like what you're going to do. You are motivated. There is something, motivation has two ways. You can be intrinsically motivated and you can be extrinsically motivated. But in this case, as an entrepreneur, I expect you to be intrinsically motivated because you like what you are going to do and you expect a payment in the future, and that's what we call the permanent beta, that is actually motivating you to do what you want to do. Then creativity will help you to achieve it. And once you are creative, more ideas will come. Be ready to diversify. Be ready to diversify because sometimes you can start a business, you reach in the middle, it doesn't work out. You can establish a clinic in a certain community, and what you expected doesn't actually come out. You may move to change the business and do what you think can actually serve that community, and at the end of the day, it gives you a reward. Also, personality. You as an individual, as an entrepreneur, you need to evaluate yourself. How do you behave? Are you a pro person, a pro people? Do you like working with people? Do people actually listen to you and value you? You need to evaluate yourself before you start the business of what you think can be successful. And once you have looked at all that, then it means innovation has taken place. So innovation is not just a dream, but it's a process of all what I've talked about. Once you have achieved all that, then you are ready to go and be an entrepreneur in any field that you have decided in your mind. Let's move to another slide. Next slide. Now, when you look at that slide, it says entrepreneurship dilemma. That means that you as an entrepreneur, you always ask yourself, am I actually doing the right thing? Will I achieve what I'm looking for? Now, that dilemma can easily be solved by the following. Define a specific problem to solve. You, as an entrepreneur, the person who wants to do a community business. I talk about community because we do all these things to solve problems in our communities, to solve problems with the people we live with, to solve problems with people that are actually matter to us, because we are looking at social economic development in our community. Now, if you are a doctor and you want to do a clinic, that clinic should be able to solve problems that communities have. If it doesn't solve that, then it will not make sense to anyone. Now, you need to define a specific problem to solve within that community. You want to set up your drug shop, or you want to set up a clinic, or any other business you want to do in life. For those who have done research, I don't know whether all of you have done research or you have done research methodology that can actually make you understand of what I'm talking about. If you look up at research, we always have what we call problem statement within our research proposals we make. That if you don't have a problem in research, then there is no need for you to go and do research because it doesn't make sense. The same applies to entrepreneurship. If there is no problem in the community you are going to set the business, then you won't succeed because your business, it should be able to solve the community problem. Now, if there is no problem, or if you have identified a wrong problem, then you are going to provide a wrong service. And if you provide a wrong service, then you won't have customers. So it's very important that you must define a problem within the community that you are going to have a business from. Two, you must identify the key variables within that problem. If you don't know the variables within your research, within the problem, then you won't be able to know what affects the other. I still go back to those who have done research methods or who have done research, that you understand that we have core variables within our topics of research. One, we can talk about the dependent variable, and we can talk about the independent variable. Some people can call it the predictor, and others can call it the outcome. So the predictor can be the dependent variable, and the independent variable can be the outcome. If you have those variables well defined, then it will help you to understand where to touch, what to do, and what to expect in terms of the outcome to happen within the communities that you're going to be doing the business from. If the community doesn't see any tangible results or outcome from what you are doing in helping them to develop, they'll actually run away from you. But how do you do that? You must have you yourself as a land person. That's why we're saying we no longer teach you guys to go and look for employment, to be employed. No. Go and utilize the knowledge you have to solve the community's problems. If you have identified those variables very well, then you will know what to do and what will be the impact to the communities you're actually serving. The third one, explain the relationship between the identified variables. That's what I've been explaining. Just know the relationship between those variables, and if that relationship does not work for you, it does not work still for the communities you are actually serving. And then understand the existing model. Before you start your business, what has been going on? That is the existing model I'm talking about. How does the community live before you go there? And then it will help you to understand, if you go there, what will be the new model that will actually change the lifestyle, that will actually change the way communities have been living, and they will appreciate you as a person that has actually changed their lives. You must be able to make a difference. But for you to make a difference, you must have understood the current situation, that is the existing model, and then you must understand from then and develop the new model, the approach that will actually make a difference for the communities to appreciate your service. But before you continue, keep on evaluating the criteria you are using. Evaluate yourself and see how are you progressing, and how is the feedback from that community you are serving. Do they appreciate what you are doing? Do you see any progress, positive progress from what you actually found, or you're actually taking them back? You need to understand that. You need to even understand what are the needs and wants of that community that you are serving, because tastes and preferences of our people keep on changing. And in development studies, we know that change is brought by new generation. If the new generation is coming, expect change to happen. You can never, ever change what the new generation wants. It must happen. If the lifestyle is changing, you must understand what do you change for you to fit within the needs and wants of the community you are serving. Never be static in your service. Listen to your customers and change to what they want. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Next slide. That takes us to the characteristics of an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, that these are the basic things that actually you need to have if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. First of all, you must have interest and vision in what you want to do. You must like the business you want to do. You must have an interest in it. If you have been thinking about setting up a clinic in your village where you came from before you did medicine, you must have understood that there is a problem. And once you become a doctor, you want to go and solve that problem. So you must have an interest in what you want to do. Secondly, it must be driven by the vision you have. Where do you want to be in the future? So what you are going to start doing small, little by little, should actually drive you to what you are aiming at. Are you looking at having a regional referral hospital? Are you looking at having grade 3 hospital? How big do you want to be? So the interest should lead you to the vision you have started with. The vision should start from day one. Don't have a vision after 5 years. Don't think you have a vision when you have succeeded. You won't succeed if you don't have the vision. Two, you are advised to at least have a skill. If you have a skill, for example, you guys, you are studying to be doctors and some of you are already doctors, it means you have a skill in medicine, human medicine, you have a skill. Private business, you're going to be much more than someone who started it but doesn't have a skill. I'm not saying that you want to do where you don't have a skill. You can do another business where you don't have a skill, but you have interest and vision, and you can employ other people, professionals, and with time, you can have a skill because you will be participating. But if you have a skill, it is much better than someone who doesn't have it. Organization and delegation. The business you are going to do, make it formal. That is my request. Make it formal. Register the company. Make it an organization, a formal organization. Have people and delegate work to them. That's what we mean by organization and delegation. Empower the people you work with. Give them authority to make decisions and let them move the company with your guide. Don't be everything. Some people start companies and they want to do everything. They want to be the MD, they want to be the finance managers, they want to be the human resource directors, they want to do everything just because it is his company. It doesn't work that way. Once you have an organization registered, it means you must have people. An organization in business, we say that when 2 or more people come together, they form an organization. And you can't have an organization when you don't have people. And once you have people, you have systems in place. If you have systems in place, then it means you must delegate to those people, do the work on your behalf. The next point is risks and rewards. I'd already mentioned that if you want to do entrepreneurship or you want to be an entrepreneur, you must be a risk taker. There is a lot of risk taking in entrepreneurship. You lose money, you lose time, but don't lose hope. Always, they say, always trust the system or the process and give it time. Be patient. The more risk you take, the more rewards you'll have in the future. Don't look at quick money. Quick money will always frustrate you. The businesses that give you quick money always don't last. So be patient. The more risks you take, the more rewards you'll have. Then look at creativity and innovation. You must be a person that is creative all the time, and you should always craft ideas and change because you are looking at what suits what my community wants. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide. Strategies for creativity and innovation. If you want to be a pure or a good creative person and innovative, what do? If you want to improve your creativity, what do? One, keep on observing how things are happening. Keep observing what is happening. The more you observe, the more you think of changing the status quo. What you have observed is bad or is good, but how can you make it different? So observation is very important for an entrepreneur. Two, have relevant knowledge. Read. You are learned. You need to read so many books, so many journals, so many research, and have knowledge about what you're talking about. The idea you have, you need enough information and you need knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, then you don't have wealth. Perception shift. Perception determines what we do best. If you have a negative perception and attitude, you can never succeed. Always have a positive attitude and perception towards the idea you have. Idea incubation is talking about have an idea for a longer time and think about it. Don't see something today, you have an idea today and implement it tomorrow. My advice is that once you have an idea on what to do in terms of business, give it some time to incubate. As you give it time, you actually hear or get more information about it. Either you can change it, or you can keep it, or you can even change the idea to another idea. So idea incubation is very important because it will help you to filter it, get what you think is right, and what you think is wrong will be left out. Exposure. What have you seen? Do something that you have seen happening in other places. If you want to make it different, you have a background of changing it. Treat partners as part of the problem. What has been reoccurring has been a problem of the existing problem. So the partners that have been happening within that very business should be avoided and do something different. Then you will define the problem carefully. The problem keeps on changing. Remember, even when you have set up that business, let it be a drug shop or a clinic, the problem will never go away. It will just change or shift, but you have to keep on identifying that problem and looking for a solution. Focus on the execution always. When you have ideas with you, make sure they are executed. Don't always think about it forever. Some people have ideas when they were still the youth, and they become the elderly when they still have the idea. When will people know that you had an idea? Always think about execution, and then evaluate your execution whether it is doing the right thing or not. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide, please. Yes. How to identify business opportunities. There are so many business opportunities all over the world. And every day, new opportunities come up. And those people who understand them, they actually come up with the new businesses. But you must have creative thinking. How do you have creative thinking? Evaluate the existing business. Mind you, in this world, it is not easy to have a business that doesn't have competition. A monopoly in the business is becoming hard every day, but people make them different and make more money. So if you evaluate the existing business, for example, there are so many drug shops coming up in every town, but it doesn't stop you from opening up a drug shop in the same area. But how do you do it? First, evaluate what are they doing? How do they do it? What haven't they done? And what does the community say? It will help you to understand, to set up what will actually serve that community. Employees as a source of information. Some people set up business, they employ others and ignore the employees. The people you work with are very important. They also have ideas even when they are not entrepreneurs. I've said before that not all of us were born to be entrepreneurs. Some people were born to be employed by others. But it doesn't mean that they don't have ideas. But what frustrates them is the fear, the amount of fear they have to run their own businesses. But they can give you very good ideas and you become a successful entrepreneur. Listen to customers' ideas. The customers you are serving, I can tell you, they have so many ideas that can change your business positively, though they may not do it themselves. Gather more information from different people. Always interact with people. Always seek advice. You may not sell your idea to them, but just try to have the probing questions towards them and they will give you answers. If you look at Michael Porter's advice, it helps you on how you can actually compete in a competitive world. One, Michael Porter talks about the bargaining power of customers. That if you want to succeed in the competitive business, in the competitive world, just know that the community you are setting the business in, they want to bargain. They want to show you what they want. They want to show you what they can afford. So for you to succeed in that environment, you must listen to them in terms of product quality. You must listen to them in terms of pricing. You must listen to them in terms of availability of the product and when do they want it. So customers are very important and you must listen to their bargaining power. Two, bargaining power of the suppliers. You are not independent. You have set up your drug shop, but you have people who supply you medicine. You have people who supply you other services for you to be complete in whatever you are doing. Now, if you want to survive in that competitive business, you must make sure that your suppliers are trusting you. If they give you medicine, please pay them on time. If you have a problem, share with them. If you have a specific quality of the medicine you want to have in the community, share with your suppliers and let them be on your side. If they don't, they will let you down. If they give you medicine that cannot cure the disease and people are paying you money, at the end of the day, they will blame you. And the person, the competitor will have the best medicine, will actually outcompete you. You need also to have a rate of the new entrants. Remember, I had said that you cannot stop competition. Any business you're going to do, you will not be alone. So you cannot stop competition, meaning that the new entrants in the business will ever be there. But how are you prepared? Always evaluate and analyze the environment. You can use SWOT as the analysis system or tool. You look at your strength, you as an individual or as the organization or the company or the business you have set up. What is your strength in that community, in that business? What is your weakness? Do you have weakness or not? Some people think they don't have weaknesses. Mind you, all of us, human beings, we all have weaknesses. And it is when you can identify your weaknesses that you can actually improve. So if you don't identify your weaknesses, you will never improve, and the new entrants within the business will actually uproot you. So be prepared that more people will come in, do the same business, but you must be able to outcompete them. Threat of substitute products. There are new products coming every day in the market. So if you have a product you are selling, be able to either to change it based on the research you have done that can actually keep on helping you to solve the problem of the community. Then finally, my co-author says that you must be aware of the competitive rivalry within the industry. Competition will ever be there. But as I had said before, how different are you going to be? How are you going to make your product very different from others? It can even be a label. It can be branding. It can be the customer service you are doing. People in the business we do these days, they buy people. People buy people. What do I mean, people buy people? If I talk very well to my customer and I give him a drug, that person, or the customer comes back, may not come back because of the medicine he bought, but is coming back because of the person that served him. So that's why I'm emphasizing on quality customer service. How do you get quality customer service? Quality customer service, we divide it into two. We have what you call internal customer service, and we have external customer service. External, when I talk about customer service, most people think of the customers that come from outside to come and buy our product. Fine, but we have also what we call the internal customer service. Internal customer service means that the people or the employees within that business are actually cooperating. Because every business or every organization have what we call the performance circle. It is a wheel of performance. Why? Because every person is contributing to the success of that organization. If one of them does not behave well to the other employee, it may affect the performance of that person. If the employees fight, if they have the intrigue within themselves, then the external customer who is coming to buy your product will not be served well. So there must be a relationship between internal customer service and external customer service. If there is no good internal customer service, you can never get excellent external customer service. That is my co-author's advice. We can move to the next slide. Next slide. Okay. Now, after looking at my co-author's advice, now he tells us to set up a business, but we must look at the business management and evaluation. Once you have set up your own business, you must be able to evaluate it. But there are different businesses that you can run. You can run your business as a sole proprietor. Sole proprietor means that you're only one person. For example, you have finished your degree as a doctor and you have decided to set up your small drug shop as an individual. So sole proprietorship means one person owning a business. It means that you are the only person soliciting capital to run the business. You are the only person making a decision. You are the signatory in the bank. So everything you do, you're only one person. That is what we call the sole proprietorship. The second one, if you feel you are big and you can make a bigger business, you can get other people and do what we call a partnership. In a partnership, you are actually more than one. And my advice would be, if you want to do a partnership business, get different professions. If you are a doctor by profession, you can look for a colleague who is an accountant. You can get another colleague who is a lawyer. You can get another colleague who is like human resource specialist. Then, because if you make up different professions within the business as a partnership, it helps you to understand different fields, and it helps you to fill the gaps that exist within the business. So you can share knowledge very well, and you can actually attack any challenge that comes to the business. Trust me, you will have all those hardships, challenges in the business, and if you have a lawyer, you have a case, you'll have no problem. If you have books of accounts or revenue issues, then the accountant will help. If you have a human resource specialist, will help to have the right people that can run the business. But you can still have a limited liability company. A limited liability company means that the company is limited by shares. Excuse me. That every member within this organization or business will have to share either in terms of revenue based on the shares that person has in the company. You can be like 4 people, and the first person can have 30% of the shares, another one can have 25% of the shares, another can also have 25% of the shares, and that is about 80%. Then the remaining can also have the 20%. So it means if at the end of the year, the company makes profits and the directors are going to share what we call dividends, remember, the directors of the business or shareholders don't earn salary, they earn what we call dividends. So dividends are shared at the end of the year when the company has made profits. If the company has made losses, there is nothing you as directors do share. In any case, you may contribute more money to fill the gaps for the company to keep on moving. Now, once you have done that, then you can select where you can fit. You can select to be a sole proprietor, you can select to set up a partnership, or you can decide to have a limited liability company. Now, once you have selected one, then you must go and register it. Go and register your company, and once it's registered, make sure you have a formal structure, what we call the organizational structure. If you look at your right hand side of the slide, there is an organizational structure. I've just put an example of an organizational structure that you can set to help you manage the organization you have set up. Sometimes it is called an organogram. If you hear those two words, they actually mean the same: organizational structure or an organogram. They all mean the same things. So once you have that, it means you are moving towards what we call corporate governance. Corporate governance, where the directors of the business decide to appoint management. So you can appoint an MD, and an MD will have a secretary, and then you'll have other middle managers. The finance director, FD means finance director, HRD means human resource director, S and MD means sales and marketing director. Now, when you look at the reporting channel, the middle managers are subordinates of the MD. The word subordinates means that the people reporting to you as a manager. Now, in management, we say that managers perform through others. The managing director or the MD you see there in that structure, he performs through these other people that are below him: the finance director, the human resource director, the sales and marketing director. If they don't perform, the managing director or the MD himself can never perform. So it means that in administration or in management, the managers have the subordinates, and once they have the subordinates, it is the subordinates' role to do what their bosses want. And how do they do that? It means a manager must have a plan, and that plan must be shared with the subordinates. It must be having objectives, what we call the SMART objectives. And once they are shared with the subordinates, then the subordinates must own them. And the subordinates must work out how can we achieve these objectives. The how is done by the subordinates. That is what we call the chain of command. Chain of command is all about the orders from above. What the manager has said is what the subordinates do. How about the system? The reporting system is always from above to down, but sometimes it can be from bottom up. So you can listen from your subordinates and implement on what they think is right. So if you look at that structure, it is just an example of an organizational structure or an organogram, and it talks about how a manager performs his roles and how a subordinate performs his or her roles. There are two words that people contradict. You can talk about a manager and you can talk about a leader. As I've said, a manager performs through others, meaning that a manager performs through his subordinates. So the subordinates do their work, and the manager is credited for it. If the subordinates fail, the manager is going to be punished on behalf of the subordinates. But how about a leader? A leader influences others. A leader influences others. If a leader talks, others follow. I will give an example of politicians. Politicians, when they talk, people just follow and vote them. When they're even not sure whether they're going to fulfill their promises. But if they say, I'm going to put up a road here, I'm going to bring hospitals, I'm going to bring piped water, it is as if they're going to speak from their pocket. But because they know how to speak and influence others, we actually call them leaders. Leaders influence others. Managers work through others, work through their subordinates. But all in all, no one is better than the other. We are actually talking about characteristics of both a manager and a leader. Now, if you want to be the best manager in entrepreneurship, you must have characteristics of both a leader and a manager. Meaning, you must be able to have a good plan as a manager for your subordinates to perform on your behalf. And at the same time, you should be having characteristics of a leader because you must speak your subordinates and they follow what you have said. Because in teams we work with, we cannot have all of them on our side. You must have people that can follow you. If they don't, remember we have groups that are forming within the people we work with. Now, in organizational groups, we have formal groups and non-formal groups. If you have an informal group coming up, they can actually approach you and lose your job. So you must have both characteristics. There is a lot of work that I may need to explain on this, but for the meantime, let's move with that. If you have questions, you can note them down, then I'll respond to them. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide. Business planning and marketing. On business planning, there is no business that doesn't have a budget. You must have a budget because As we move towards the last slide, I talked about everything having a cost and an effect. That if you do anything, you must have a budget. If you don't have a budget, you can't proceed. So any business you're planning to do, however little money you might have, but there is a budget. Human resource, you must have people. You must employ people, you must empower them, you must delegate to them, then you must be able to evaluate them on how they are performing, and then you can be given different plans and strategies. Strategic planning. Strategic planning mainly focuses on how you can utilize the limited resources and achieve your objectives. All in all, we all know that we can never, ever have enough resources in life, whether it is a government, whether it is a parastatal, whether it is a sole proprietor, whether it is a partnership, resources are ever limited. So if they are limited, then we must be able to utilize the limited resources strategically to achieve our goals. Once you have done that planning, you must do what we call business marketing. Every business must be marketed in one way or another. I'm aware that medicine is not supposed to be advertised, but there is a way you can create awareness. But I'm going to be generic in this case, in case you are not doing business in medicine, or even if you are doing it in medicine, you can see how to apply this. There is a basic term we call the marketing mix. Marketing mix is all about the 4 P's. The 4 P's must be focused on every business that you set up to do, and the first P is the product. If you don't have the product you are going to sell, then you don't have the business. And the product is looking at the quality you have and the quantity. You must have identified how big is the market, how big is your community. That determines the quantity of the product you are going to deal in. 2, you must look at the quality of the product you are going to have in your business. Is the quality recommended, or is a fake quality? In medicine, I'm very sure you must focus on medicine quality, because if someone buys medicine and doesn't cure, that person may never come back. You can even be arrested. So quality and quantity of the product you're going to sell is very important. That is first P. The second P is the price. That once you have the product, you must have the price for it. But how have you determined the price of that product? There are different strategies that help you determine the pricing. You can determine the price because you want to penetrate the market since you are starting. So you might sell the product at a lower price. You are not looking at profitability. But if you are not looking at profitability, you must be looking at what you call the break-even point. The break-even point is where the product is not making a loss or a profit. It is neither making a loss nor a profit. So the money you have actually spent doing the business is exactly what you are getting. So you can use that pricing strategy to penetrate the market. Or you can be dealing in a business where your customers feel that once the product is expensive, determines the quality. You might be needing to position yourself in that way to be seen as the most expensive product. So different strategies of pricing can help you price your product, but you must have a price of that product you are going to sell, you are going to deal in. The third P is press. Press, you can stroke distribution. Your product must be available when the customer needs it. Don't always tell a customer that the product is finished. No, there is what we call the reorder points in procurement. That if you have a business, you have a product, for example, you have headaches, or aspirin, you know the consumption rate of aspirin or headaches, and you'll know at what quantity can you make another order. Don't wait to have zero stock in your shop and then you go to buy. You must buy before the stock is at zero. So the customer comes asking for that product shouldn't be told wait for a week, wait for a month. You will have opened up chance for your competitors. So price or availability of the product is very important. And lastly, the fourth P is promotion. Find a way of creating awareness of your product. Let people know. You can have flyers. If medicine is not allowed to be on radio and TV, have flyers that people can read and understand the medicine you have, the pricing, the availability, everything. Find the best way of informing your customers that this product is available. So availability and information is key in the marketing. Since time is not on our side, let's move on to the next slide. The next slide, yes. Factors affecting an entrepreneur. As we all know that every business is affected in one way or another. So if you are becoming an entrepreneur, you cannot expect to be isolated. You will be affected like any other business in the world, and the following factors will actually affect you as well. One, economic growth. If the economy is not doing well, like what we are doing now, I'm very sure that wherever you are, everyone was affected by COVID-19. Whether you like it or not, every field was affected. So if the economy is not doing well, you as an entrepreneur expect a slide within your business. Two, inflation. World over, I've heard that inflation is going to increase as we move on. So meaning that the currency we are using is going to lose value. So you must be very sure that if you are an entrepreneur and you are charging like $10,000 or $1,000 in the near future, what you are using to buy with $1,000 will not actually buy it in the next 2-3 years. So inflation will have to affect you as an entrepreneur. Technological advancement. Most of you, I'm very sure if you are reading well or you are listening to international news, technology has advanced and it has affected almost every field. If you look at artificial intelligence, there are specifically, I think, about 4 types of technology that are affecting the world. One, we have artificial intelligence referred to as AI. Artificial intelligence, even in medicine, if you read very well, it has affecting medicine field, and jobs will go, but more jobs are coming. So artificial intelligence is one of them. Two, blockchain technology is also affecting every field. It is taking over almost every field. Then we have big data. Big data is helping people to make decisions, because if you have information, then you can make informed decisions. We have cryptocurrencies. I'm very sure you're reading about Bitcoins. You're reading about Binance. You're reading about Ripple. You're reading about Onyx. You're reading about Dogecoin. All those cryptocurrencies, they are actually evolving, and the currency as the banking sector, the traditional banking, is also going to experience a change. I'm very sure some of you where you are, you know what I'm talking about. Now, technology is the way to go. You as a student or as a medic where you are, I don't know how you're prepared for this technology, because whether we like it or not, we are going to be affected either positively or negatively, but that is the way to go. Read more about how technology is affecting the other sectors in the world. Cultural factors and people management. Culture is very, very important in any business you are doing. You must understand, what does the community like? How do they behave? And what don't they like? If they speak their language, the local language, in the people or the staff you are going to recruit, you must make sure that you have the local people from that community in your business. If you don't, they may sideline you and they may not come to your shop. People management, it talks about, first of all, the recruitment process. How do you mix up different culture to balance the cultures you're operating in? You may not be coming from that very community, but if you come in as an investor, you must make sure that their children become part of your business. And secondly, you must have a merit recruitment. Recruit people based on merit and manage them based on what they can do best. Empower them, give them authority to make decisions, and let them be accountable for the decisions they have made. So culture is key. Behave the way you have found people behaving. They say every organization has its own culture, and if you cannot join it, you leave it. The same thing to the communities, that every community has its own culture, and you, if you want to be a business person or an investor in that community to solve their problem, you must understand how is their culture. Fit within that very culture, that's when you can be successful. Political factors, if there is turmoil in that community, I don't think you can do much. If there are wars, if there are intrigues, if there are political fighting within that community, then I don't think you can succeed as an entrepreneur. Government policies can talk about taxes, can talk about waivers in taxes, can talk about promoting industrialization, can talk about supporting indigenous investors, can support about external investors. So you need to find out where you want to do the business. What is the government's policy? What is their take in terms of entrepreneurs? Is the government supporting them? Are the banks supporting them? Because banks are responding to what, commercial banks are responding to what the central bank is actually doing. If central bank is promoting loans or is giving out some grants to some specific areas in investment, then the commercial banks will do the same, because central bank is working on the policy of the government. And if the policy doesn't support some investment in certain sectors, then you may not be able to move any investment in that area. So you need to understand in which country you are. How does the government support investment? How does it support, which business do they support? And how is the impact on your business? We move to another slide. Another slide. So all in all, the dream for the entrepreneur starts from the ambition. You must have the ambition first. Once you have the ambition, you must have knowledge about that ambition, whether it is achievable or not. If you find it very complicated, you don't understand it well, leave it. And once you have that knowledge, then you must get a skill about it, because the skill will help you to succeed. And at the end of the day, every entrepreneur, even if it's a long journey that can take years, but is always focusing on success. You must focus on success. If you don't focus on success, you will never succeed in anything. So the ambition you have today, make sure before you implement it, you have enough knowledge about it. And once you get the right knowledge, try to get a skill that will help you manage your people, because you won't be able to manage people successfully if you don't have a skill about it. And then once you have that, then success is your focus. You must succeed whether people like it or not. You must succeed as an entrepreneur. Next slide. The success we're talking about for any entrepreneur in the world. I remember I told the moderator that the background of this poster must have some money, must have some dollar, because there is no entrepreneur that is not looking at money. Entrepreneurs look at money. So the success of any entrepreneur, you as someone who is intending to go into entrepreneurship, you must look at how will I get more money. You never have enough money in the world. So that is your success. Next slide. Once you have gotten the money, remember that everything has a cost and an effect. You'll never run away from the cost. Even if you are sleeping, that time you have spent in the bed sleeping has a cost. And that cost will have an effect on your life. So according to Professor Senteza Kajuti, to me is right, that whatever we do has a cost and an effect. And by doing so, I'm very sure the little time you have spent, you have picked something, because as I said from the start, I said entrepreneurship is very wide. There is a lot to learn, but the 20% I picked, I'm very sure it has given you 80% of what can help you start your own business and become an entrepreneur. And you never know, this world is round and very small. You might meet in the next corridor. Otherwise, bye-bye. See you later.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We really appreciate your elaborative report. Do we have time for some Q&A?
Yes, we can have like 10 minutes. My time is running. I have another session with different groups, but I can attend some questions.
Okay, so do you see the questions or should I read them out?
For those who are interested in my contacts are there, the last slide. Maybe the moderator can display it, and then I can be contacted later. So for those who have some questions, please.
Okay, so can we do a couple of questions, only 2 questions?
We can have like, okay, let's first have like 4. Then after that, we shall proceed others.
Oh. So Howie says, thank you for your lecture. It is very helpful. So she says that you mentioned that entrepreneurship is looking for solutions where problems lie. Would you, an individual who solves the problem of the community but gets little financial profit from it in return, can be considered an entrepreneur?
So you are trying to find out whether, if you're looking for a profit, whether you'll be a solution to the community.
I think that's the question. But with little financial profit, can you be an entrepreneur?
Yes. Okay, let me respond to the question one by one. Yes. As I said, there is no entrepreneur that is not looking at profit. Remember, I said everything has a cost and an effect, because you are going to look at how can you serve the community, but at the same time, how can you survive? Because you are trying to see how can you grow the business. For example, you have finished the degree you're doing. If you run a business, you have capital. And this capital in business, we must have what we call the return on investment, ROI. And the return on investment, it means it must give you back the money you have put in, but at the same time, you must make some profit, because you are going to have to incur some costs. But if you are making some profit, not exaggerated profit, and at the same time the community is getting what they want, you're actually good an entrepreneur. There is no entrepreneur that is a charity. Charity organizations are not entrepreneurs. Have I answered you?
Yes, I think the question has been answered. Let's proceed to another question.
Can we have another question?
Yes, we do. What are the factors which determine the success of an entrepreneur in the medical business? And do you believe that medicine is a good area of entrepreneurship in this time in our continent?
So the factors that determine the success of medical entrepreneurs. One is going back and identify the right problem within the community. Remember, I said that as medics, we must focus on helping our communities. Each of us is coming from a community, either a rural community or urban community. But what is that problem that people are facing within their communities health-wise? If you identify that problem, then you look at what are those two variables I talked about. What is determining the other? And once you have identified that, you will also understand what is that relationship between the two. If people are not healthy in my community, if people are not getting the right services in terms of health, what is the problem? Is it because there is no medicine in that community? There are no drug shops? There are no clinics? There is no government hospital? If you have identified where the problem is coming from, it informs you where to start from. That's why I said that before you implement your idea, you must get the right information from the community. Because if the community is not served based on what they want, they will chase you away. So you have to understand what the problem is within that community. Once you understand the problem, as point number one, then you must look at how can I be different from others. So product differentiation is a very key factor, because remember, you are not the only person doing that business. But how are you going to be different from others? Is it in terms of pricing? Is it in terms of location? Even where you are located is also very important. Is it in terms of quality of the service you're offering, the quality of the product? What is it that can make you different? Also, to do that, you must have evaluated all those others that are doing business, that medical business in that very community. Then, another point that can make you succeed is capital. Most entrepreneurs are hindered by capital. You don't have enough product, People come, your customers come and they find some medicine is not there. You have to refer them to other places. And by doing that, you are actually chasing the customers away. So try to have enough capital that can help you stock enough medicine for your customers. Then, as medicine in the business, have qualified people. When you are forming your own organization, I said, if you have decided to run as a sole entrepreneur or a partnership, have people that are qualified. Let people have trust in you. People have trust in your service. If people get to know that you actually have qualified doctors, they know what they are doing, then they will have trust in you and they will always come to you. But if patients come, they operated and they die, they buy expired medicine. Ethics, that is the last point I would talk about. Ethics in medicine. Are you ethical in whatever you're doing? People are being sold expired drugs just because you need to make money. Even if I said entrepreneurship is all about getting money or making money or profit, you must be ethical. Do the right thing, because if people know that you are a doctor, then they expect you to do the right thing. But if you go on the dark side of ethics and sell expired drugs, use people that are not qualified, they operate people they don't know, and people die, then they run away from you. I hope I've answered you.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. These are all for the questions, and we've already sent your address to everyone, and they can ask you on this address. Is that correct?
Yeah. I will answer those questions that will be coming later, either on my email or WhatsApp. I'll try to answer them. It's already a needy day here. I have to move I have another session somewhere. So I would say thank you so much for entrusting me with this. And it's a pleasure for me. And I wish you well. Read more about entrepreneurship. For more guidance, I'm available. Though I'm limited on time, I'm a very busy person, but I can try to help where I can. And I wish you success in whatever you are doing. Otherwise, cheers.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Sabiitim.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure. Okay, everyone.